Qualche giorno fa sono andato a Sitges per incontrare Ian Morgan. Ian Morgan ha una storia davvero incredibile perché ha iniziato a correre tardissimo, ora è diventato un coach, un ultra runner, ispira un sacco di gente perché era un obeso che faceva un lavoro anche interessante, probabilmente con della gratitudine a livello economico, però è arrivato a un certo punto della sua vita che era veramente in sovrappeso, possiamo parlare di obesità, era mentalmente abbastanza devastato, insomma aveva un po' di problemi e così ha deciso di iniziare a correre a oltre 40 anni e ora è praticamente un atleta modello, è un esempio perché ha 53 anni, sembra che ne ha 30 e qualcosina, ha un fisico perfetto, corre ultramaratone, adesso sta andando a correre la sua UTMB che vuole correre sotto le 30 ore e soprattutto ha un'energia addosso pazzesca, per me è una fonte di ispirazione. Ha un bellissimo canale Instagram, io vi consiglio di andarlo a seguire e vorrei provare a raccontare un po' la sua storia con questa intervista. Intervista in inglese, però ci saranno i sottotitoli, vi lascio all'intervista. Can you tell me a bit your story and your backstory, actually, how you started running and a bit about you?
Well, first, thanks for having me. Your channel's super cool, especially the YouTube one. I've looked at some of the interviews and really enjoyed it, even though I have to put the caption subtitles on because
it's good for learning.
It's good for learning Italian, exactly. My wife will be happy to know that I'm picking up some Italian anyway. I'm Ian Morgan, originally born in New Zealand, and I lived there for about 40 odd years. It's interesting, I'm on a running channel because I'm not a natural born runner. I don't have this amazing running background. I actually kind of fell into it in my 40s. I was going through a really difficult, challenging time in my life. I was overweight, about, I think maximum, I've put in my post, I was around about 105, I think something like this. But to be honest, I think I topped out at about 109, 110 kilos, 110.
And that's a lot because you're not super tall, so that's a big BMI, let's say.
Yeah. So I wasn't like obese or anything like that. I was overweight. I think if you work that out, I'm about 6'1", so 186, 187 centimeters at about 110 kg. So yeah, but high blood pressure, not in very good shape.
There's some good photos on Instagram which I'll post later.
Yeah. You can see the before and after pictures.
Actually, it really inspires a lot of people. There's a lot of people write me actually, seeing stories like yours and other people that start from an overweight position and then start running and losing weight. And I love that. And what happened? How did you get to that point?
Wow. A lot of things. We had these earthquakes in New Zealand in 2010, 2011. Lost some houses, and that including the house I was living in. Marriage was pretty shaky at the time too, falling apart. We'd separated a few times, got back together. Just we're in court, I should say, with the insurance companies and the government, etc., for a few years, and trying to juggle all these balls, keep all these things going at the same time. And I just found out, my health was bad. I was eating poorly, no exercise, drinking a lot, and I just got to a point where I just wasn't happy with who I was.
Up to there, you've never done sport in your life? Or?
In high school, I did a bit of track and field, a bit of cross country. Okay. A bit of being in New Zealand, played a little bit of rugby, a little bit of cricket, a bit of volleyball, this kind of thing. But never to a competitive level, I guess. Just a school type level. So. So I was just sitting there one night watching TV on a sofa, a couch like this, drinking a beer, and it's not a Hollywood movie, I put the beer down and said, I just gotta do something different. So I got up and started to walk. I walked out the door, went for a bit of a walk around the block, and then started to run. And I just about killed me, but it, you know, a few 100 meters, 100 meters in, but it just felt right. I don't know, there's just lit a spark in me that was probably there for a long time. When I was a kid, we used to live near some hills, used to run in the hills as a kid. I used to just spend hours and hours, you know, exploring, running, and there was just something about the freedom and movement, and I guess it ignited that spark again. And some people say it could have been like running away from your issues or running towards something that was better. I don't know, really. I'm not a philosopher.
Yeah. And how old were you when this happened, the epiphany moment of I need to change?
Would have been early to mid 40s. So yeah, 2011, 12, 13. So about 43. Yeah.
43. Wow. And I think this is really important because a lot of people think on the 40s are already dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not true, of course.
No, of course not. This is actually what it felt like when I was overweight.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's it for me. It's like I just stay like this. I'll get a little bit fatter, then I'll retire, and you know, and I've saved enough, and then I can go on a cruise ship or so. But you know, when I imagine this scenario in my head, it's just so not me.
Yeah.
When I was young, I dreamed of adventure. I dreamed of going to like different countries that I'd seen in movies and things, and exploring. So yeah.
And so we get to this point where you're 43 something, changes your life because you finally decide to move your ass, if we can say that.
Yeah.
And you're not an average athlete because you're pretty good. You win races.
Oh, thank you.
You do big things. When did you actually understand that running could be a thing? Because you know, you run fast.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, coming from you, that's I appreciate it. You're a super fast guy, this guy. So, yeah, I think it was like 2 or 3 years into the running. I started it and I just enjoyed it, but I didn't do. I'll be honest with you. The first 6 months to a year was just a bit of a nightmare. I was just like, I knew nothing. I was getting injured all the time. I didn't know anything about strength training, mobility work. It was just basically go out the door and run. You know, I didn't even cool down or do any stretching or anything. So yeah, it was a learning process over a couple of years. Then by about the 3rd year, I started to notice, you know, incorporate some of these things. I joined a running club, and you know, people there suggested doing different things, how to fuel properly, how to hydrate, and I had a coach that was really big on strength and mobility work. So this made a huge difference. Within about 6 months into that 2 to 3 years, I really improved a lot in my running, and then I thought, wow, I actually could do something with this. I could be a lot better than just I don't know, just jogging, you know?
Yeah.
And
do you remember your first race? How was it?
First race, I think it was like a park 5K or something.
Were you still in New Zealand at that time?
Yeah, I was still in New Zealand at that point. So I spent a couple of years, it probably wasn't until my like mid 40s. I mean, I went to Australia and those sorts of things, but I didn't like go to Europe or the US or anything. And when I started to get good at running, I moved to like 5K, 10K, half marathon. And then I thought, wow, you know, maybe I could get into Boston. I wanted a challenge, something that was like, for me, at the time, unattainable. I think at the time I was running about a 3:20 something marathon. And you know, I'd improved a lot from where I was. And I thought, well, to get into Boston, I think I had to run a 3:20 or better for my age. And you know, looking back now, oh yeah, okay, that's not the it's attainable, it's fine. But then I couldn't get to that, and I had a couple of goes, and I got within, you know, a few seconds, and then I kind of thought, man, it's just going to be too hard. And then I thought, no, give it another go, another try. And it was just one of those races where, I mean, you've had it probably, most people who have run at one point, just everything works. And I just like ran, you know, I don't know, It's like 5 minutes or 7 minutes under the qualifying time for Boston, which guarantees you, I think it's if it's more than 5 minutes under, you get a place, or I can't remember.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's easier. The
yeah,
better
it's easier.
the time,
Yeah, the better the time, the better.
To
so I ran my first Boston then in what was that, 2017.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then after that, I went back and ran it another 2 times because I wanted to do a run under 3 hours at Boston. So once I'd done that, I thought, okay, that's that sort of thing put to bed, and now what's next?
Yeah, and what's next? Because you are now, how old are you?
53 now.
53, you're joking. You're like 30,
33
33 maybe, just tops.
They can't, that's the filters, guys.
No, for real, you look amazing. And when did you do the transition between, because you said you started from 5Ks and 10, the marathon, which was already a big thing. Boston is one of the most difficult to get in and actually to run as well, because it's quite tough. It's the worst marathon I've done in my life.
Yeah, because the hills
it's
in
super,
about 30 Ks,
yeah,
isn't it?
it's really difficult to master it properly. You need a bit of experience. When is it that you started to do ultras and the things that you do now? Because now you run a bit more than a marathon.
Yeah, true. Yeah, good point. I think once I'd done Boston, I started to do ultras I did Boston, and then I thought, what's more than the marathon distance? And I continued to, like I said, ran Boston for another couple of years. But in that time, I also ran a lot of ultras. It was more like what would happen to my body and my mind if I went further than this. And then, of course, not knowing, I'd run a few small trail races, 30 Ks, 50 Ks, I think. But I wanted to know, okay, so they're not super tough. They're a bit more challenging, but what would happen if I ran 100 Ks? What would happen if I run 100 miles or more? And I really wanted to find out what was my limit? What was the point where I said, I can't do this or it's too hard? So I guess a personal challenge, I don't know, maybe it's like a childhood thing, thinking you're not good enough, who knows, And I just started to run ultras, and then I just fell in love with just being in the mountains and being in my own head, just hours and hours and hours moving through beautiful places. And all the challenges, weather challenges, food and stomach challenges. It's like you have to rely on, it's up to you. And obviously you have, there's aid stations and there's other runners, but I really liked the feeling of challenging myself in these longer distances.
And now you're preparing your UTMB, which is in a few weeks now.
Yes.
And how is it going, and why UTMB?
Wow. Well, UTMB is like the World Series of trail running. UTMB in Chamonix, Mont Blanc. It's like the World Trail, or it's not Trail Championship, but it's like the Super Bowl, I guess, from the US, or the Soccer World Cup. It's like all the world majors in marathon. It's like the one of the pinnacles in ultra running races. I went there last year to run 100 kilometers. Didn't have a very good race. Had some issues going into that year that stuck with me through the race. But decided to go back this year, run the 100 miles or 170 kilometers, a little over. And just because it's just such an iconic race. I think it's like people that want to run road races. There's certain events that they want to run. It's the same with trail, and this is one of the premier events you can run.
And how do you lead up to this race? Do you do other races? How many races do you do in a year usually?
Yeah, it's been, well, the last few years it's been a bit more challenging because of the pandemic. This year I haven't done so many. I think 150K, about 3 30K trail races. I did a 100K
I think
race.
You won one as well.
Yeah, I did well in a couple of the shorter races. I podiumed in a few this year, which has been good. A lot better than last year, that's for sure. I didn't get anywhere near a podium last year. And then I did recently a 110K race in Macedonia. Nice. But we had to, unfortunately, we had to stop because of a storm, and I got stuck in a mountain hut for a bit. So I still, got on the podium still, but like it wasn't, a lot of people dropped because, So, but yeah, this year's training has been really good progression, good 6 months with different training blocks, really good recovery. Just recently did a VO2 max and a heart test, and everything was excellent. So
amazing. What are your expectations leading to this race?
Looking to run sub 30. Not going to be close to Killian, sub 20.
Not many are.
No. But yes, I think you know, if I get below 30, that's the goal. That's my goal. I look at my age group, and the guys that win most years are in that sort of 29-hour-ish bracket. So to get as close to that as possible, sort of 28, 29 hours would be a dream. I've run close to that before in other 100-mile races, but not last year. I had a lot of problems. But yeah, I think with the training, it's gone so well. I've run 100 Ks of the course, so I know that side of it. I know the terrain, the climate, and everything's gone really well. So I guess it's just if the race day gods smile and the nutrition goes well and the weather's, you know, not too bad, who knows?
Oh wow, I'll definitely follow you for that.
Thank you.
Now, a bit of advice for, I have two groups of people.
Yes.
Those that were in your position, so fed up with their lifestyle, maybe overweight, maybe under stress, mental issues, all these things. What could you suggest to them to get out of that situation, as you did?
Great question. You know, all as I can do is share my own advice, and that's just start from where you are with what you have. And that's all I did. I ran, I think, 2 to 3 times a week for, you know, I started like 2 to 3 kilometers. And you can walk. If you can't run, if you're like, you know, got knee problems or ankle problems, or your, you know, maybe your trainer or doctor or you know you're a bit heavy at this point, get some shoes that are comfortable, get some gear that's comfortable, doesn't have to be expensive. And just start, just begin. Look at, I would say, you know, the main elements, I mentor people as well, and the main things we look at when I'm mentoring people is things like sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? What are you eating? You know, diet-wise, what's going to help you feel better, have more energy, and move. And that might be running, it might be walking, might be swimming, biking, elliptical trainer. But just start. You don't have to, I didn't get to running 100-mile races. I didn't just jump into them. It took me years. And I just started, and, you know, with 5K, 10K.
How long does it take, do you think, to make running a routine in your life? Because it's not something that you just...
No.
It takes a while.
Yeah, it's true. I think, to be honest, for most people that are starting, probably the first few months is going to suck. I'll be honest with you. If you're starting from a position of not doing much for a number of years, if you've done a fair bit when you were younger, you know, and you understand a lot of the processes, it will be easier. But if you're just starting from scratch, yeah, I would say, you know, like I mentioned earlier, it took me a couple of years to really find my I don't know, rhythm, my where I sort of fit in, and then I'm really started to make progress. But up to that point, the progress was quite incremental. You know, I plateaued. I had injury issues. So I think give yourself time. Be patient. Don't think. You know, if you download an online plan or start working with a trainer, and they say I can get you like ripped and shredded and fit and ready to race in 3 months, it's probably not realistic if you're just starting. Like, look at it as like, I want to be healthier and better and fitter and stronger, and take your time. It might be 6 months for some people, it might be 1.5 years for others. But it's not a race with anyone except yourself. So.
Thanks, I think that would be really useful for a lot. The second one is for every person that is in that position thinking that it's too late to do something, or maybe they're in their 40s and they've never done anything in sport or anything in life, actually. I don't know, looking at your content, you inspire a lot of people, in my opinion, especially because of your journey and because you started late. You didn't start when you were 18 or 15, which is easy. but you started when most people actually give up, a bit like you were saying, no? Is it really true that 40 you start to degrade so easily, as they say? Because I'm 40, and to be honest, I think I'm in the best shape in my life. And
exactly. Yeah, I mean, you've said it. You said, I'm 40 and I think I'm in the best shape of my life. And this is it, you think. So what you think, how you act, it defines how you act and what you believe. You know, it's not the actual shape you're in, it's what you think about and what you focus on. You can focus on what you don't have or what you can create. If you're looking at what you can create, you can get a lot better. But it's not too late. My wife, Fran, she's 57 years old now. She won't mind me saying that. It's all right. She put it on social media on her birthday. Yeah, she's older than me, but she's still running ultras. She's had she's just come back from double Achilles surgery, actually related to a bone issue that you know, something different. But she's still running ultras. She's still running races. Still in super good shape. In fact, once again, she says she's in some of the best shape she's ever been in her life. So it's never too late. But I think most people, we live in a society of instant results, and people see social media and they say, I want to be like that person. And there is no instant fix. It is your journey. You have to work at it. You know yourself, to get in the shape you're in now, it's taken a lot of years. It's taken a lot of practice, learning, and patience. And that's all you need to do. In fact, just turning up and doing the work. I know it's a cliche, but this is the key. Turn up every day, do what you need to do, whether that's 30 minutes a day, whether it's, you know, an hour and a half. You'll eventually get to a point where it will become part of your lifestyle rather than something you have to add on to your routine.
Thanks. Now, two last questions. Okay. The first is, what are your goals for the future, apart from the UTMB? Where do you see yourself in a few years' time? Is there any race that you're dreaming of, any adventure?
Wow, lots of good questions. So, yeah, I think I really like to live in the present, and I focus on not just the moment I'm in, but the year I'm in. But yeah, however, long term, I realize there'll be a point when I can no longer do this, or the distances, or the paces that I want to do. So yeah, I'm moving more into writing things and helping other people. Like I said, I do. So I've started an online mentoring to help people out, mainly because I just got asked questions from friends and people wanted some help with something, so I sort of helped them. And then one of my friends said, "Hey, look, I have to give you something for this," and then it just grew. So I'm just growing that and developing that as we speak as well.
That's amazing, so, helping people.
I think giving back. Most of the clients I work with are people similar to my situation, you know, middle-aged, not in the best shape they've ever been in their lives, but have seen a possibility to make a difference in someone else and just, you know, want some guidance. So, and that's really rewarding. Something I didn't realize I would enjoy so much, and I really am. So yeah, I think giving back to the community that's helped me so much is something I really enjoy. I must admit, when I first started doing it, I thought, oh man, no one's going to really want to do this, but the response has been quite overwhelming. So yeah, I think moving more towards that side of things, just to show people it's not too late, you can do it, and continue to run and race while my body and my mind allows me to do it.
Is there any race in particular that you have in mind that you haven't been yet, but you would like, hidden maybe in your heart? I don't know, Tour de Jean.
Yeah, good question. You know, there's so many races now. I haven't raced in Asia yet, so I'd love to do some races in Asia. I'd like to run like in places like Mongolia. Maybe there's some events there, some desert races and things like this. I did a multi-stage desert race, 270K one in Dubai. I really enjoyed that. I like the mental challenge of that. So maybe Marathon des Sables, maybe some races like this, the stage race type events that are longer. Yeah, Tour de Jean, it's super beautiful in the Aosta Valley. And you know, I had a crazy idea. Maybe I've done Boston now a few times. Maybe it would be good to get the World Majors circuit like ticked off in my 50s. So I'm thinking, yeah, to like transition into road for a couple of years and try to hit, you know, London and all those ones, New York, Chicago, etc. So yeah, I think it's always a growing, developing thing, the running and the challenges. So it's a constant learning curve. So yeah, there's no one race I could say I really have to run. I mean, I think UTMB is, once I've done this one, it's like, it was like Boston. It's the dream race for ultra trail. So after that, who knows? Any races out there? If you want, yeah, you have something really crazy and challenging,
you're up for it.
Yeah.
And last question, I do this to all the athletes, all the people that are being in this podcast and YouTube channel. It's a bit of a philosophical question. Okay. What is running for you?
Wow. Yeah, you know, I've been asked this so many times, and it's always different because I think I change as a person. A lot of the time I've ended up saying freedom because it changed my life so much. And when I started to run in my suburb in Christchurch City, New Zealand, I had absolutely no idea I would end up living between Spain and Chile and running in mountains and races all over the world. So yeah, it's freedom to really express who I am and be myself, I think would be a great way, because I've really found out I'm quite a different person than what I thought I was meant to be. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Well, this is inspiring for sure. Thanks, at least for me. I hope for everybody else. Thanks a lot, and we'll definitely follow you, especially UTMB and all your next adventures.
Thanks so much for the time.
It was amazing. Thanks.
Cheers.
E nulla amici, io spero appunto che questo vi possa ispirare a cercare sempre la vostra migliore versione, ad uscire, ad allenarvi tutti i giorni, a fare cose e non arrendervi mai, perché lui secondo me è la dimostrazione che si può fare. Fatemi sapere qua sotto nei commenti che cosa ne pensate voi. Ringrazio lo sponsor di questo video, Top for Running. Se avete bisogno di un paio di scarpe o di qualsiasi prodotto, abbigliamento, andate sul loro sito, utilizzate il coupon code Esco a correre, soprattutto il link sotto in descrizione, così aiutate anche il progetto di Esco a correre. Amici, correte e fate l'amore. Ciao belli!